welcome to the news here on Magic Bricks Now, India's first 24/7 property business channel. I'm Krishna Kumar. Let's take a look at the top stories that we're tracking. D-Day today, and 85 of 98 cities have submitted their smart city proposals to the centre. Who has submitted their plans? Who has not? We tell you right here only on Magic Bricks Now. More homes coming your way in Mumbai. The Maharashtra state government proposes to increase the incentive on floor space index or FSI. But the flip side is homes could get costlier. And in our special series, War of the Cities, we get you exclusive details of Prime Minister Modi's constituency, Varanasi's smart city plans. Today is the big day. Round one of the War of Smart Cities just got over. 85 cities of the 98 picked by the centre and state governments have submitted their smart plans to the centre. Who has met the deadline and who hasn't? My colleague Deepa Rana is standing by live in New Delhi with all the details. Deepa, thank you so much for being with us here on the news on Magic Bricks Now. Talk to us. Tell us which cities have made the deadline and which ones haven't.
Yes, after a competition of entirely heating up and everything, we have finally come to an end today, and about 12 cities have not submitted the proposal because of Tamil Nadu, who is busy because of Chennai disaster rains, which has just devastated the state. There are 12 cities which Tamil Nadu is yet to submit. They have asked for time from the Urban Development Ministry. Apart from that, 85 cities out of 98 have submitted the proposals. 12, as I told you, is Tamil Nadu. One city is from Telangana. Telangana has asked for one more city to replace Hyderabad. One city from Telangana is Warangal. Then let's come to the cities that have submitted the proposals. These are Rajasthan. From Rajasthan, we have Jaipur, we have Udaipur, we have Kota and more. Then from Gujarat, we have Gandhinagar. Also coming to Prime Minister Modi's constituency, Varanasi has submitted the proposal. In UP, we have Rampur that has submitted the proposal. Lucknow has submitted the proposal. And coming to Delhi, Delhi has submitted the proposal. So we have 85 cities who have submitted the proposal out of 98. Now the competition has just started rather, because the proposals have been submitted. Now the Urban Development Ministry is going to go through presentations. It's going to be a long process. The presentations are going to happen, and the Urban Development Ministry is going to go through SWOT analysis. There are going to be criteria like framework, like citizen participation of all these cities. It's going to be a very tough criteria, and on basis of these, we are expecting the final names to come out somewhere in January 2016. But all of these cities that have participated are doing all they can to come to the Smart 20. Back to you.
Deepa Rana there getting us the latest on the War of Smart Cities all the way from Delhi. Thank you so much for joining us here on the news on Magic Bricks Now. And with that, it's the perfect time for Magic Bricks Now, a special series, War of the Cities, where today we look at Varanasi's bid to make it to the final list of smart cities. Varanasi has submitted its proposal to the centre, and my colleague Amita Balachandra has all the details of the Varanasi Municipal Corporation's smart proposal. Amita, take it away.
Today we take a look at Narendra Modi's Lok Sabha constituency, Varanasi, and why Varanasi is one of the strongest contenders when compared to the rest of the cities to make it to the top 20 smart city list. Now we of course spoke to the Municipal Commissioner of Varanasi Nagar Nigam, who told us that they're looking at area-based development and they're also looking at pan-city proposal. Now for its area-based development, the key focus area of course is the area near Ganga Ghat, and they're looking to develop over 900 acres of land, and the investment that's gone in is over 900 crore rupees, which is close to what the government is offering at this point in time. That's one. For its pan-city proposal, they're looking at two different key focus areas. First of course is that they need to mobilize traffic in the city, and the corporation believes that traffic is one of the biggest problems the city is facing right now. That's one. Second is that they're also looking at solid waste management. This is post Narendra Modi's cleanliness drive in the city itself. But of course, like I mentioned, it is also the strongest contender because it is Mr. Modi's constituency, and it's also got a couple of key focus areas lined up in order to be able to make it to that list. Also remember, Varanasi is rich in culture and heritage, and tourism is another big key focus area here. We also spoke to the commissioner, and they did tell us that they have submitted the plan to the government, although it's not yet up on mygov.in, which is the government's website. But of course, we will have to wait and watch whether this city will be chosen for the top 20 list.
As Amita was just talking about, we caught up with P. Shahi, the commissioner of the Varanasi Nagar Nigam or Municipal Corporation, and asked him about the city's smart plans. Listen to what he had to say.
ये कुल 992 एकड़ के लिए है। पैन सिटी और एरिया बेस्ड डेवलपमेंट के लिए अलग अलग सिटीजन्स एंगेजमेंट कराया गया, और सिटीजन्स एंगेजमेंट में लगभग 1,75,000 लोगों ने पार्टिसिपेट किया वाराणसी के प्लान बनाने में। और पैन सिटी के रूप में जो फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी दी गई है वो ट्रैफिक मोबिलिटी को लेकर के दी गई है। सेकेंड प्रायोरिटी सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट को दिया गया है। दूसरा जो पार्ट एरिया बेस्ड डेवलपमेंट में है उसमें रेट्रोफिटिंग के लिए बनारस में जा रहे हैं, और रेट्रोफिटिंग में वो एरिया लिया है जो गंगा घाट से एडजॉइनिंग है, और लेते हुए जो मेन पुराना बनारस है उस पुराने बनारस और घाट से सटे हुए जो मंदिरों का इलाका है और घनी आबादी का जो क्षेत्र है वो लगभग 992 एकड़ एरिया बेस्ड डेवलपमेंट के अंतर्गत रेट्रोफिटिंग में लिया गया है। हमारा विजन और गोल उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए हम पूरा प्लान बनाएं तो हमारा जो बनारस शहर है वो धार्मिक एक तरह से कहें कि राजधानी है देश का, और इसमें रिलीजियस प्लस टूरिज्म ये दोनों तरह के आकर्षण हैं। इनको दृष्टिगत रखते हुए, और इन आकर्षणों में दो चीज़ें थी हमारी, एक काशी विश्वनाथ गंगा घाट और उनसे लगे मंदिरों का क्षेत्र। तो इस पुराने काशी को रेट्रोफिटिंग में संवारने का, सजाने का, और उसके माध्यम से हम इसके धार्मिक महत्व को और पर्यटन के महत्व को और बढ़ाने का प्लान हमने किया है।
Shifting focus from the war of smart cities to Amchi, Mumbai, then where the state government is going all out to increase the supply of homes. However, these could come at a price. The government has proposed a hike in FSI, but builders will have to pay a premium to use this FSI. What does this mean for the Mumbai home buyer? My colleague Disha Shah spent the day speaking to developers and market experts and got us this report. Take a look.
The state government has issued a final notification hiking additional development rights and premium charge to mop up more revenue. It has proposed to hike incentive FSI, which is optional for the city's suburbs, from 0.33 to 0.50. Let me tell you that FSI is an indicator of how high a developer can build on a plot, the ratio of the total constructed area to the size of the plot. An important thing to remember here is that once this proposal is out, this additional FSI will come at a cost, and if a developer wants to avail this extra FSI, he has to pay a premium of 60%, which is according to the current ready reckoner rates. And with this proposal, the state government plans to mop up revenue close to 3,000 to 4,000 crore rupees, and the premium received by the developer will be shared equally by the state government and the civic body. Another important thing to remember here is that if this proposal passes, this could also lead to increase in the transfer of development rights certificate. When we spoke to developers, they were quite not happy with this proposal. They said that this will jack up project cost and the selling rates could also go up, which at the end user will have to pay for. But on the other hand, when we spoke to experts, they believe that this is a very good thing for the city like Mumbai, because extra FSI means a developer will have more area to sell, and if more area to sell, that means more homes for you and me. So we have to wait and watch that what the final notification actually comes out to be.
And to take that further, we have Rohit Poddar, Managing Director of Poddar Developers, joining us live here on the news on Magic Bricks Now. Rohit, thank you so much for being with us. Talk to us. The government is proposing to hike, the incentive FSI. What is going to be the likely impact of it all?
The government wants to have housing for all by 2022. And several people in the government are of the opinion that the property prices are unaffordable and the prices should actually come down across the board. If this is our premise, then the policy is a good policy of increasing the FSI, but any increase in FSI should be linked to market forces as to whether it's affordable or not. If it's not linked to market forces, then it's only an exercise on a piece of paper without having the necessary effect. And in this particular case, it seems to have a vastly negative effect. Now it's 60 basically of a much larger figure. So there's a 6 or 7 time increase basically in the charges. So this is point number 1. So who will ultimately pay for this? The customer, if it's affordable for them to pay. So this is not, of course, in symbiosis with the idea of bringing prices down.
Okay, Rohit, but the proposal also says that to avail that extra FSI, developers will have to pay that 60% premium you were talking about. So are developers, first of all, willing to pay?
I mean, in theory, everyone likes extra FSI. The question becomes, what are the cost parameters that go up into making your cost of goods or cost of material, or in this case, the cost of an apartment. If the cost of an apartment is more than the selling price of the flat, then no one's going to basically be interested in the scheme. So as things stand today, I don't think that the scheme is going to generate any large revenue whatsoever. So my personal view is that instead of 60%, they should either make it 30%, or they should put a cap or a ceiling zone-wise. They can maybe map out 5 areas of Mumbai and have 5 different zones with 5 caps of maximum price of revenue, which is say 2,000-3,000 rupees a square foot.
All right, Rohit, before I let you go, my colleague Disha was just talking about how this could also lead to increase in the transfer of development rights. You tell us what will be the impact this will have on the TDR market.
The TDR lobby is having a field day. They think that there's been a home run of home runs, the Diwali of all Diwalis, the bonanza of all bonanzas. And the reason is that they are now linking their TDR prices to the 60% of ready reckoner price. So in many cases, TDR prices have gone up 200-300%. As a consequence of that, in many areas like Bhandup, for example, the input costs are higher than the output costs. So if the selling price is going to be less than the manufacturing cost or your total costs, how will housing stock come into the market and how will prices come down? But basically, my view is that whatever schemes are proposed by the government should be practically executable by people who will take the schemes, and the tax net should be as wide as possible. So I would say less is more. The lower the rates of taxes, the lower the rates of revenue expectation, the wider will be the collection.
All right, Rohit, we will let it go at that. Thank you so much for joining us here on the news on Magic Bricks Now. On one hand, where developers believe that this will jack up the project's costs there, but let's get an expert's view also on this proposal. And for that, we are being joined on the phone line by Pankaj Kapoor, Managing Director of Les Sephora. Thank you so much for joining us here, Pankaj. My first question to you is simple. There could be a hike in incentive FSI. What impact will this have on Mumbai's property market?
One thing is that increase in FSI is always good for the city like Mumbai. If you look at the built-up area density, we are the highest built-up area density. That means that we have more people and very less built-up area. So if you look at Mumbai, to accommodate number of people who are living and to provide the housing for the people, we need to have close to 4.5 FSI. And this is analysis we did some time back. And that's why you look at last 2 years or 3 years, government has been coming forward increasing FSI by whether it is in the redevelopment projects or whether it is in the land projects and things like it. The FSI has been towards the rise. So one good thing is the increase in FSI. I do agree the point which Podarji was mentioning, that the ready reckoner prices itself is so high today, and from 2009, ever since the ready reckoner prices started surging, and since the government has linked the premium charges to the ready reckoner land prices charges, and which they have been increasing, the outgo of the developers by virtue of paying to these cost towards the approvals and the fungible FSI has grown up by close to 400%. Thanks God, like this year they have restricted increasing any further to the ready reckoner prices. But the damage was already done by the government. And that is where they have not realized whether the market is in the slums. There could be a speculative prices which the builders have really adopted, and the prices went up. But the government also went ahead and matching the prevailing prices with their ready reckoner prices. It has created a double whammy. It has virtually created the kind of a floor that the developer can't reduce the prices. Along with that, it has also impacted their cost. So I agree that point of view, that the cost of the developer has gone up because of the increase in the ready reckoner prices. But additional FSI also provides additional sellable area. So in that sense, it is good, but
No, Pankaj, the one thing I want to ask you is the increase in FSI. So this will not have any effect or will not be beneficial for the home buyer.
Beneficial increase in FSI, if it helps in reducing the land cost and the cost of the people, then builder have a scope for reducing the rates and moderating the prices, and then they will start passing the discounts to the people, and that is where we see the sales will improve. That is what is not happening. So when the government in past 4 years, the way they increased the prices and they brought it at par with the market rate, which are unproductive rates, sales are not happening. So, and every FSI is coming equivalent to the prevailing land prices, and land prices itself is unproductive. So it's like why the developers are not happy, because they know at current price point things are not selling. They are looking at the avenues and the scope. By virtue of it, they are able to moderate their prices, land prices. So FSI is a component through which you increase the productivity of it. But if you are increasing the productivity and saying that along with increased productivity, the charges is also the same, that the impact gets nullified. So impact
gets nullified. That's the word coming in from Pankaj Kapoor, Managing Director of Liasefura. Thank you so much for joining us live here on the news on Magic Breaks Now. Buying a property in Noida and along the Yamuna Expressway will now get costlier. The Yamuna Expressway Industrial Development Authority has passed a proposal to hike land allotment rates across residential and commercial segments. My colleague Suyesha Sawant tells us how much this particular increase is going to be. Suyesha, take it away. Tell us more.
That's right. Buying a property in Noida and along Yamuna Expressway will soon become expensive. The authorities that administer Noida and areas along Yamuna Expressway have increased land allotment rates across all categories. The lowest is at 7.8% for industrial plots, and the highest goes up to 33.33% for per square meter for group housing. Greater Noida, however, will see no change, as the authority had revised land rates by over 10% in February this year. For Noida, land allotment rates for group housing, residential and institutional properties have gone up by 10.5%, and for the industrial rates have increased by 7.8%. There is no change in the rates for commercial plots in Noida. However, for Yamuna, the areas along Yamuna Expressway, land allotment rates for residential properties have gone up by 12.7%, while that of group housing have gone up by 33.33%. Recreational greens have increased by 13.3%, and allotment rates for industrial and institutional properties remain unchanged in areas along the Yamuna Expressway. This is supposed to start with immediate effect.
Savant there with the latest on the hike that the Yamuna Expressway is set to see. Thank you so much for bringing us that report. And to get a better perspective on this matter, we are joining me live on the phone line is Gitambar Anand, Managing Director at ATS Infra. Mr. Anand, thank you so much for being with us here. Now, you're someone who's actively building in this particular area. How do you think this will impact residential development?
You see, the problem is that when they increase these rates arbitrarily, then the finished product also, the circle rate of the finished product also, by default, they have to increase. So what happens then is that the real price of maybe an apartment or a shop or whatever is actually much less than the circle rate. That being said, they do this to accrue more revenue by stamp duty. But there is an income tax law under Section 43CA, which actually says that if in case there is a difference in the sale price of a built-up unit or land compared to the circle rate. Now, we all know that the market is not very buoyant right now and prices are not exponentially high and they are moderately, stable and low. So when such a situation arises where the circle rate is higher than the actual price of the property, then the buyer and the seller are actually slapped with a 33% income tax burden on a notional profit. Now, this, we had from CREDAI, we had taken this to the Finance Ministry. The Finance Ministry said we have our reasons to keep 43CA intact. So you go back to your states and tell them not to increase circle rates arbitrarily. Let them be, in sync with the actual market price. So this is not good news for the buyer or the seller.
All right.
And we will, because 43CA triggers in for finished property and for land sale. So therefore, we will have to go back to the government and request them to rationalize these prices. Because, they in Diwali, they decreased the circle rates by 25% day before yesterday because they understood the actual ground reality. And in other areas, in Faridabad, they've decreased it. In Noida also, they have rationalized the commercial circle rates, which are very high. So we will appeal to government again to rationalize these prices also.
Gitambar Anand of ATS Infra, thank you so much for joining us live here on the news on Magic Bricks Now and sharing your perspective with us. Moving on. It was the worst natural disaster in over a decade, and the worst hit city, Chennai, was marooned. Even as life came to a halt in the city, the floods in Chennai had an impact across the country. In the aftermath of the floods, we take a look at what you and I can do to protect ourselves financially when natural disasters strike. Amita Balachandra has this report.
It was the worst natural disaster after the tsunami wreaked havoc in 2004. Chennai, which received close to 200 millimeters rainfall during the 2nd December floods, was the worst hit, claiming thousands of homes and lives. Even as several people stood to lose their homes, residents in the city got together to help each other with food, clothing and shelter. In the wake of the devastating floods, insurance companies are flooded with claims. Major companies that operate in the city have received claims of over 500 crore rupees on account of damage to motor vehicles and destructed property. But the bigger task at hand for home buyers is filing and getting their claims settled. Even as claims pour in, several insurers have begun making claim settlement process easier for you. Tata AIG General Insurance, for instance, has started SMS services enabling Chennaiites to file their claims. Several other companies such as Bajaj Alliance General Insurance and SBI General Insurance also have helpline numbers, including setting up a claims team in the affected city. But here's the all-important question. How do you prepare for natural calamities like the one that rocked Chennai? How do you safeguard your property when stuck in a situation this dire? There are a couple of simple protocols that you need to follow in order to be able to safeguard your property. The first protocol, of course, is a no-brainer. You need to digitize all your documents apart from having originals. Take Chennai floods, for instance. There are a whole bunch of people who have been insured and they've not been able to claim their insurance simply because all their documents are lost, simply because they haven't digitized their documents. So that's the first protocol you need to follow. Second, of course, is to make sure you check the value of your property. Check to see if it is based on market value or if it is based on reinstated value, simply because the amount that you're going to get later on will differ. So make sure you check that. Third, of course, is to buy an adequate cover in the first place. Let's say you have a sum insured which is way lesser than the value of your property. Then after you've claimed your amount, the amount that you're going to receive at the end of the day for your damages will be way lesser. So if you have a higher sum insured, the claim amount is going to be higher. So these are the three things that you need to follow. These are the three protocols. But of course, in order to be able to meet these protocols, you need to have an insurance policy in the first place. So make sure you go buy that adequate insurance policy for your property before it's too late. Amita Balachandra for Magic Bricks Now.
And with that, we have completely run out of time here on the show. But remember, if you have any feedback or suggestions for us, write to us on the email IDs flashing on your screens. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, so feel free to tweet to us or post your query on our Facebook page. We'll absolutely love to hear from you. Also remember to check out our live streaming website, www.mbnow.in. And with that, we wrap things up here on the news. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.